It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Mike.
And this week, we are getting our rocks off, for the Things practical outfit coming out, Mike. And I only do this because if anyone here has watched Arrested Development, season 4, there's a Fantastic Four the musical where Tobias has to wear a practical thing suit. So just throwing that out there if anyone wants a little reference on that one. Jurassic World 4's title and first images have been revealed, Mike. I think we're excited. We've been theorizing on this movie for a couple months, so it's good to have some concrete details. Christopher Reeve's Super/Man drops an emotional trailer. If anyone hasn't caught that this week, and more.
Yes, I was telling Chris not off mic, but I guess off recording before we started the show here, that the last week has been good over here in the Royer household. The baby is having a good week, sleeping longer stretches, which is great. So I have more energy on this week's episode than I did last week. I'm fully caffeinated, fully fed. Baby's napping right now. Chris, on the other hand, was doing manual labor.
Yes.
Oh, which makes sense. It is Labor Day weekend here in the
right.
United States, so he's holding up his end of that terminology.
I'm exhausted. I'm tired, but it's good. It was all for good stuff. So it's not like I'm complaining about it. But I'm usually it's the other way on the show the past couple of weeks. But I do want to give a shout out to David L. For updating our theme song for the first time in 7.5 years, Mike. The original guy we went to on Fiverr was able to change just a single word in our intro. If anyone hears what that is, let us know, because I told him, I literally asked him, I'm like, can you update this song? And he's like, yeah, I'll probably have to re-record it though. And then a week later, he's like, I found all the original files. I'm like, great, because you've been a voice of a whole podcast generation for almost a decade now.
Did he, when you reached out to him, did he remember us off the top of his head, or has he done a lot more work since the last time he recorded?
Yeah, he's done a lot more work. He was honest. He's like, look, my prices have gone up since the last time we did this 7 years ago, and I was like, dude. I mean, we got our $5 out of you wholeheartedly. So whatever your rates are, I'm fine with. And he was really cool to work with, really awesome. I don't know if he remembered us specifically, but I did have where he actually sent the lyrics and the chords for the song when he wrote the intro song all that time ago. So it's just been really, it was really cool to kind of dip back into that and realize how long it has been since you do that, since it's just kind of on autopilot for us since we dialed it in last time. So I just want to give it a shout to it. And also for people who don't know about Fiverr, head over to Fiverr if you need some custom work done. They pay the people who have the skills, get your project and move on. It's pretty cool place. It is Labor Day weekend, and I don't have anything to catch up on, Mike. So let's just jump into the news, because some of the stuff I was going to catch up on, will come up later. But first and foremost, Marvel, they're out doing celebrating anniversaries. So we've got two things to talk about. One is the 85th anniversary video. This clip we talked about last week, it was leaked and then pulled down immediately. Well, it's officially been revealed. We've linked it here to the official YouTube channel in our show notes, and you can watch it. And it starts off, talking about how Marvel started back in the, it'd be 80 years, so it'd be 40s. We got Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, so on and so forth. Got the comic books, and then we jump into the movies and the animated stuff. And at the end of it, we get to see kind of the future of some of the Marvel stuff, including small clips, very brief clips of Daredevil Born Again, Thunderbolts, Ironheart, and obviously the post-credits of the trailer, if you will, is the Red Hulk transformation with Harrison Ford. So
right around the 155 mark, there's a title card that says, "We've only just begun." So if you're looking for those clips, just go ahead and jump forward.
Yeah, I think it's a cool video though. Obviously it's they put some work into it. We talked talk about the Thunderbolts. I sent it to Mike because obviously we talked about last week, and Thunderbolts. We're very excited about this movie. Number one for Century for me, but like also it's just like I don't know a lot about what this movie's going to be doing and all the characters. But you get to see obviously it looks like a return to classic Bucky Barnes, Mike, and that has me excited to see him with his long hair and just that like I'm an assassin trained by Russia for 80 years and to be such a menacing person. I just love that look on his face when this elevator door opens and we see some of the team together along the way.
Yeah, it's really crazy. All this little Thunderbolt drips that we've been getting news wise has like really been getting me hype, and I feel like my hype meter is going up and down compared to what am I more excited for, Fantastic Four or Thunderbolts. Fantastic Four, I get this whole new team and a whole new universe with an amazing aesthetic, but the Thunderbolts, I feel like I'm getting characters that I really loved returning, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. So, I mean, this is a good problem to have, Chris. These two movies I'm very excited for. Absolutely.
And then also, a couple frames later is a couple seconds later, we get to see Charlie Cox in his Daredevil outfit with the red glowing eyes, right? The glass piece eyes in the outfit. And I can't tell. I've been kind of popping back and forth. I don't know if something's like flying at him or he's dodging something. But just to kind of revisit Daredevil after 10 years after it debuted on Netflix next year. I think we're even though Deadpool and Wolverine has really set the tone for 2024 Marvel, I think next year we are in for a treat in terms of shows and movies across the board for that. And it's cool just to see that old classic suit come back, the big red suit for him. And then obviously, there's a brief clip of Riri Williams in the Ironheart armor floating or I guess speeding down an interstate, and then it ends with the big, not so secret reveal that Harrison Ford is going to be the Red Hulk in Captain America: Brave New World. And some of the funny stuff is we've talked about this, I think on air, maybe even off air, just like, why are they not hiding this? And I think the regular people just don't know. And that's, sometimes you got to remove us all. Like, would people know that General Ross was even recast? Would they even remember that he was a different actor from, 2008's Incredible Hulk? And sadly he did, he passed away. So it wasn't like it's like, oh, we didn't like the actor. But also, people don't know he's the Hulk, so if they want to really tease Captain America as having someone to fight against, it's not just someone, another gang of mercenaries or quote unquote terrorist from the Captain America TV or the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. They really got to throw out a villain that is going to be someone hard to beat, I think, along the way. So I don't know. I'm excited. This is pretty fun clip. I think if anyone wants to check it out, they can watch it. The other clip we have is this weekend. I believe it was in Los Angeles, Mike. The Infinity Saga concert is going on, where they include like laser projections and fireworks, and they have a live orchestra playing songs, instrumentals from the Infinity Saga. I've been seeing clips over the weekend. It's at the Hollywood Bowl, which is a really amazing venue out here in LA. It's a big outdoor amphitheater. It's very historic. It's always great because they have these really laid-back rules where you can kind of bring in your own food and drinks, even alcohol if you want. So it's always a good time, a great vibe. And yeah, I'm very jealous of the people that were there, because it seems like they had the orchestra that was playing along to a screen above them to like clips of the movies. We just rewatched Infinity War and Endgame a couple weeks ago when my parents were here in town visiting. And those movies just they obviously still hold up because they put so much hard work and build up into them. So just being there around a bunch of people again, and they did the whole clip where the on your left Cap and they come out of the portals and then the music swells. It's like, oh my god, that would have been so cool to be there. Alan Silvestri really nailed that Avengers theme right years ago in 2012, and it holds up after all this time. But one of the cool parts, two cool parts. Number one is Kevin Feige came out and said, "Thank you for being here. We're actually going to take the Infinity Saga concert on a world tour." No dates or venues have been announced, but that opens up to people like me. Maybe I'll get to see it somewhere, maybe Chicago, if I'm lucky, or somewhere around here. But the other part was they actually had an after credits scene, quote unquote scene, where the band played the entire Fantastic Four theme that we unveiled a couple weeks ago from San Diego Comic-Con. And I've included the video clip someone filmed of them playing that whole theme song, and it even ends with like the Fantastic Four fanfare. So that was just really cool. They're already, obviously practicing that, but hyping up the Fantastic Four still here, less than 12 months to go as we kind of get into it. So I'm pretty stoked for this. So if you guys want to check out those video clips, those are here in our show notes as always. Keeping the theme of the Fantastic Four, first steps is that, as Mike said, someone's getting fired because we have some pretty close on-set images and video of the Thing, or whoever, the stunt double playing the Thing on set in the I don't know where they're filming. I think it's in London, where they've been building the Fantastic Four set. So they actually have someone there in a practical suit, bulked up, hands, little white booties, even Mike on his little outfit here. So they are using a practical stand-in for the Thing, even though we've seen from the D23 video that Eben Moss-Bachrach will be CGI the character as well. So.
Yes, he's been doing his research and thinking a lot about rocks, I believe was his quote.
Yeah.
But yeah, the video footage here is hilarious because I was thinking of those set photos that we've been talking about the last couple weeks, and there's lots of cranes there. There's lots of like construction equipment, and this video is kind of being shot. It looks like between bars and through like a dirty glass or plexiglass or something like that. So maybe this is like a crane operator or like a bulldozer operator or something. Yeah. So I don't think this feels like something that maybe wasn't intentionally supposed to be leaked, but maybe they like shot it over to their friend real quick of just like, oh cool, look, the Thing on set. And then of course their friend put it out into the world, and now like, oh, your buddy's probably going to get fired now because they're not supposed to be recording anything at all. Yeah. But the practical suit, I got to imagine it is really just there to capture accurate lighting and for other actors to bounce off of. It's size. So they're looking at the right eye lines and everything.
Yeah, I think in scale, right? Like the Thing is not someone like you have the actor is a tall, lanky man, if you will. The Thing is not a skinny dude. So like if you have him in this big rock outfit, you got to kind of know what space you need to interact with him, right? So, but it's cool. Like they didn't just have like a dude with a thing on his head, like how they did like they do the Hulk, where it's just a motion capture Mark Ruffalo, and they have the Hulk's eye line like mounted to his back. So like they've actually got someone in an outfit walking around, full Fantastic Four suit, top to bottom. He is enclosed in this outfit. And you can see a whole team putting it on there. I think it looks cool. I think the thick eyebrow, the frowny expression really evokes classic The Thing from the comic books. And I'm down with this, Mike. I mean, I've got, I don't have any. We always talk about Fan-Four-Stick, the movie. I remember the Thing in there. I don't remember having a problem with him, but like, everyone always goes back to Michael Chiklis's version, the bright macaroni orange rubber suit that he wore around. So it's cool to kind of see them kind of go back to a mixture of CGI and physical props on this. But you can check out the video and the image links in our show notes as well. We've got a lot of links this week, a lot of blue lines in our show notes this week. This holiday weekend, you may, Mike, I know you didn't, but a lot of people may have gone back out to watch Deadpool and Wolverine because it is back to being the number one movie after missing 1 week of being number one. So out of the last 6 weeks it's been in theaters, it's only dropped once. I think it was Alien Romulus when it came out. Took the top slot. Borderlands, which is one of the movies I want to watch this week because it's now on digital, couldn't even beat Deadpool and Wolverine. So I just want to give a shout to this movie that has we talk about legs when we talk to a movie, right? A movie that keeps going past that first week, second week, third week. 5 out of 6 being number one. This sounds like a huge win for Marvel and everyone involved with Deadpool and Wolverine. So kudos to them. But this has not stopped Ryan Reynolds from like literally sharing everything and like calling everybody out in good ways on his social media for the past 6 weeks. And one of the cut quote clips shows Gambit, Channing Tatum's Gambit, walking over, I guess, the bodies of the people who died in the last battle there in the Void, and then turning around to one of the Marvel Sparkle Circles, indicating he is one of the saved people, right? That Deadpool wanted to help after they stopped. What's her name? Cassandra Nova and whatever. So we were like, oh, is this a deleted scene? This is a cut scene. Marvel doesn't usually do deleted scenes. So, what are we seeing here? But it was released by Ryan Reynolds, and he said that this clip is actually in one of the minor monitors in the TVA. I think maybe in the end credit scene or somewhere else as well. So
technically it's canon.
Yeah, technically it's canon. So if they wanted to bring him back or use him in Secret Wars or Doomsday, they absolutely could. I don't think we're going to get a Channing Tatum Gambit movie, despite what the small vocal minority seems to want.
I mean, I've been seeing images on social media with captions saying like, "Oh, bring Wesley Snipes back as Blade. We don't need Mahershala Ali as Blade anymore. Just bring Wesley Snipes back." And it's like, I get it. Wesley Snipes is awesome. He's a great Blade, but I think people forget the idea that these movies need to have a future, and they need to have legs, and you need to prop up a new franchise and universe. So technically, you might be able to do that with Channing Tatum as Gambit, but he's still this out of universe character. So if he does join an X-Men team in the future, he has kind of this weird multiversal baggage to them, which is kind of odd. I guess it could happen. Weirder things have happened to the X-Men in the comics and the universe,
He could be not this version, but another variant. But I think this version is too goofy to bring in there. Gambit has always been a charming New Orleans person. Seriously needs to be charming to the ladies. But this one, talking about, literally dick jokes during his time with Deadpool, and then obviously the popular line I see everyone, the "woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here," everywhere. I think he's a fun little meme, but I don't think he doesn't need to go on. If we're gonna get a Gambit, we need a Gambit, like you mentioned, doesn't come with the baggage, but also fits into the vision of new X-Men, because we can't keep going back. As much as I love the multiversal stuff, as much as Deadpool and Wolverine was harvesting those member berries, we gotta move forward at the end of the day, and for the reasons you mentioned, and just it's just cleaner, right? It's just more fun to have someone kind of come in and bring their own take on that character. And my wife is actually watching Blade before I came and recorded dinner. I don't know if she's ever seen the first Blade movie or even the second or third, but she was watching Blade. You know why? Because it was in Deadpool and Wolverine. So for the people who are not involved in the shows and listen to the podcast, they are very much thriving on the news coming out of Deadpool and Wolverine. Almost 2 months later. So. Yeah, absolutely. I think watch that clip in the show notes and let us know what you think. What should we be doing with Gambit at the end of the day? Wonder Man is a show coming from Marvel, produced and I think directed by Daniel Destin Cretton, who did Shang-Chi. Apparently, the series is in post-production / nearly completed, based on a post from I think is maybe another showrunner on the show, Andrew Guest. This is one of those situations where I want to talk to you about some things. This is kind of the reveal, or I guess the new strategy that Marvel and Disney have for some announced projects, or announced projects from the Chapek era that have not come out yet, where they're not going to announce or even release projects based on how close they are to being wrapped. Ironheart wrapped filming in 2022. We've just seen a clip for the first time, earlier today. We have no idea when the show's coming out. Do you think they're, obviously they're spacing out the TV shows. Do you think they're just they've got a plan, but they're not going to tell us because they don't want to us to feel I don't know, not pressured, but crowded by all the Marvel projects coming? Oh,
I think I think they still need to solidify a real strategy with the Marvel streaming TV shows, right? The films have kind of relatively been set back in line because there's fewer of them. They're spaced further out. I think it's kind of easier to plan that trajectory. But with the TV shows, since they're kind of ancillary stories for the most part, or at least the stuff that's on the schedule right now, feels like they don't really know what the longevity of them are, how many seasons that they're going to get. Does Agatha all along get a season 2 in any real way, or how do those characters continue on? So I think they're just like, don't announce anything. We don't know what the future of these TV shows are going to be or how we're going to organize them or do them. So just like keep it close to the vest, like under promise and over deliver, which they've been doing the opposite up until recently. So
and I think the thing is, like, we know we have Agatha, we have Daredevil, we have Ironheart, we have Wonder Man, we know we have a Vision series coming. I think and obviously Nova is possibly in the works as well. I'd seen reports that Disney is canceling the Marvel TV stuff. I don't think that's true. I think we're going to get 2 max a year. And they're going to be things that, maybe are very unpredictable, if that makes sense. Like, obviously we didn't think Wanda was going to lead into Vision and Agatha. Wonder Man was not on my bingo card for Marvel properties. But I know a lot of these were kind of greenlit in the Chapek era, right? Back when he was like all in on streaming. And now they're like, hey, obviously Disney reported a profit on streaming recently, but like, we're not making money on streaming like we thought we were, right? The subscriber count is not sustaining the cost of these productions, so reel it in. So I think I agree with you. It's over under promise, over deliver, right? I'm trying to get that right without sounding stupid. Under promise, over deliver, but also at the same time, these don't need to be, these can be kind of any project that maybe Feige himself or maybe another producer is like, I think we have some value here. Let me try one. But I think we're still 3-4 years out before we see anything maybe unannounced that hasn't been announced yet. You think? Like, I think once we get through Vision, which hasn't even filmed yet, and then Nova, maybe like 2027. Maybe they're waiting for the reboot, quote unquote reboot after Secret Wars to announce some more TV shows. What do you think?
Or just waiting to see what's successful, what sticks. Maybe Channing Tatum gets a Gambit TV show now that he's been so popular. I don't know.
I hope not. God, I hope not.
They're waiting.
I think in X-Men, there's so many X-Men / mutant characters. I think they could easily have a X-Men based TV series down there that are not focused on the main, classic team, if you will. So we can see that, but I'm excited to see some Wonder Man footage. Maybe, where was it? New York Comic Con, I think, is next. Maybe we'll get a small teaser leaked from there if we can. If not, it'll probably be next year before we see or hear anything. I was thinking, and it kind of leads to my next note, I'm so excited for Super Bowl season because of the trailers, Mike, this year. Like, next year. Like, next year's movies are, like, I feel very hype. Very, very hype. Not just Marvel, but, like, the next time we're going to talk about is Jurassic World 4, which we have an official title for, but, like, all these Super Bowl trailers, like, I know people's fantasy football leagues are kicking off, so that means we got to start thinking about snacks. We got to start thinking about trailers. I am just so hyped for that season, for February to get here. But I'm jumping the gun. Jurassic World 4 has an official title and a logo called Jurassic World Rebirth. And they've put that out on there with a couple other images with some actors, Mike. But you had a specific statement you said about this logo whenever I showed it to you earlier this week. Do you remember what it was?
It's got some nice kind of sunrisey colors to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've leaned yet again for the 30th year in a row the T-Rex icon and the obviously the Jurassic World font, but Rebirth. So very, very, it's not underwhelming. What would we call, like simplistic? It's a simple name, right? Like, it feels like it's telling us, yes, we're past Jurassic World. We're not Jurassic Park anymore. We're Jurassic World, but it's also a new beginning for the franchise. We're in our 3rd trilogy, if you will, I believe, kicking off. So we've got some images we're going to go through. The first one we have actress Scarlett Johansson. We know the biggest name joining the movie here, and then also next to her is actor Jonathan Bailey. Now, here's a fun theory I heard online, Mike, about Jonathan Bailey, is that he is Tim from Jurassic Park grown up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, so he would be playing, obviously Lex and Tim, the kids from the first one. He's grown up now that dinosaurs are out in the world. That people don't think he's crazy, and he's kind of followed that path because he wanted to be like Dr. Alan Grant, right? So I think that would be a really, really fun thing. We know Scarlett Johansson's not playing Lex, so no one get your hopes up there as well. The second image we have is the classic Jurassic World shot of someone holding a flare in the dark with Mahershala Ali. The new Blade himself is in this movie, and he has a flare. Looks like trying to get some dinosaurs' attention at this point, right, in the dark. So,
yeah. I mean, is Jurassic Park basically turning into the West's version of Godzilla, right? We bring these dinosaurs in as like an allegory for something that we're doing wrong in society. Like last couple ones have been like kind of climate change and the industrial military complex, but a la dinosaurs. I just watched Godzilla X Kong a couple weeks ago, which I know is not traditional kind of Japanese Godzilla.
That's the newest one, right? The New Empire?
Yeah. It is the perfect movie to watch while you are watching after a newborn. Because you don't need to pay attention to that movie at all. You just kind of look up every once in a while, and there's like a monkey fighting another monkey or something.
And there's no dialogue, like hardly any dialogue either. Like you don't have to really listen to it. It's just mostly animals on screen.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. So maybe Jurassic franchise is moving in this way of like there's just always going to be a Jurassic movie at some point in time.
You scared me.
No one else is making dinosaur movies, so they have no competition on the dinosaur space.
You scared me because I thought you were going to say, is Jurassic Park the new Fast and Furious franchise? Is what I thought you were going to do, because I'm like I could kind of see it because there's always going to be a Fast movie about fast cars, and no one else is doing fast cars right now. So except them. So I thought you were going to go that route. So thankfully you didn't. But we got a first synopsis for this film, Mike. I'm going to read it off to you and everybody else for all the fun things. So I'll just go through this real fast and we'll talk over. The film will be set 5 years following the events of Jurassic World Dominion, when the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they thrived. The three most colossal creatures within that tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to mankind. So to your point, this sounds like big pharma, Mike. It sounds like we're tackling the pharmaceuticals.
Excuse me, this is Avatar: Way of Water with the whales.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's funny, like you got to develop some sort of mechanism to get these dinosaurs to mix in with humans. With the last movie, it was just like, oh, they're just out there in the world and they have proliferated, so you just kind of have to deal with them. Or there's some sort of weird like genetic mutation subplot line. At least this one's a little bit more straightforward. I think it was Jurassic Park 2, right, where the impetus was just like, oh, we just want the dinosaur. We want to build a theme park around them. In San Francisco.
Two was the sequel. Yeah, because they were like, okay, we were going to take Jurassic Park and bring it to America. Well, all the dinosaurs died. That park got shut down, so we have to go to the backup island and bring the dinosaurs to our theme park in America. Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate this idea. It kind of already is happening in our real world. If no one's ever heard of the horseshoe crab, it's like this weird kind of like crustacean in the ocean. It kind of looks like a dustpan or a shovel with a tail on it.
Think Kabuto from Pokemon. People
yes,
who know
exactly.
Pokemon.
And we harvest their blue blood because you put it helps identify, I think, bacteria when you're creating like vaccines and stuff. So we haven't found a way to synthetically make it yet. So we're just harvesting these freaking crabs and like stealing their blood. It's very metal. So I guess I could imagine that happening to dinosaurs. It's not a big leap for me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think the big thing we talked about, like dinosaurs out in the world. How's the world going to look like with dinosaurs? Well, they've really solved that by just saying, well, the dinosaurs didn't thrive. The environments killed them. Yeah, it got too cold. It killed them. So they were very isolated. So we've brought the dinosaurs back. it's probably an island. You think it's an island, like where they're gonna live, like very, very isolated to an island. Not like, hey, we put up some walls around, like, you know, Morocco or something on the equator. But so I think it's gonna be islands. I did read that Scarlett Johansson is a Black Ops operative who are taking in the scientists to get these from the three dinosaurs. I heard that the three dinosaurs is like one's a carnivore, one's a herbivore, one's like a water one, like a water based dinosaur. So it sounds like we're gonna be, you know, collecting the trifecta dinosaurs. And once you collect all three, then you can go into the water temple. Is that right? Where you can beat it. So no, it's fine. This sounds good to me. I like the idea that they've scaled it back. It's no longer world scale kind of stuff. I do hope they, you know, they're not training dinosaurs again. I really did not care for a lot of the other three Jurassic Worlds. What was the he does the movie reviews, Mike. He was on Screen Junkies. Dan
Murrell.
Dan Murrell hates Jurassic World movies. And I don't hate him as much as he does, but I'm like, man, he makes some good points against those. But I'm excited to be back. This sounds like it's got some good cast and some good ideas, Mike. Are you in? You in on this?
I mean, until somebody ponies up and makes a Dino Crisis movie, this is the only dinosaur movie I'm getting, so I'm in.
You think Asylum's going to make a dinosaur movie next spring before this comes out?
I'm sure they're going to make 5 of them.
Yes,
by the time this comes
Cretaceous World Rebirth is what it's going to be called. But, yep, we'll keep you guys posted. And again, look forward for that trailer next year because this is coming out next summer. So one of the trailers for one of my favorite things came out. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 gave us our first official trailer, bringing Shadow the Hedgehog in as the villain, voiced by the legendary Keanu Reeves, Mike. And I was having such a good time watching this and all the references. Did you watch this trailer? I assume you did.
This trailer was such a unique experience for me because I've never gotten around to watching any of the Sonic movies, the Knuckles Paramount Plus show. So it's the equivalent of like when I went to a country music concert with my wife a couple years ago, of just like everyone around me seems to really be liking this. But I have no idea what's going on. I don't know any of these songs, but okay. Yeah. I'm glad everyone's having a good time. So it's just kind of funny. A lot of people were reacting to the Dr. Robotnik and his grandfather.
His grandfather, his grandfather.
So or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even know canonically the character had family lineage that showed up in the video games. Yeah. So it's just wild to have like a nerdy kind of franchise out there in the world that I just have not jumped into yet. Yeah. And I kind of like that because it just feels like there's more mystery out in the world. You know?
The Sonic movies are some of the, they're just really enjoyable. Like it's got good characters, it's got good voice cast. We bullied the studio into redoing Sonic. Do you remember when the internet bullied the studio into redesigning Sonic? Like, it's great. It's got some good voice cast. Jim Carrey hates the Hollywood machine, but will come back and do a Sonic movie in a heartbeat. Like he'll play 2 characters in this one. But you know, it's great to see the characters I grew up with. You know, I had a Sega Genesis. I played Sonic 2 all day long. I'm very familiar with Sonic. I'm very familiar with Tails and Knuckles, and I get to see them all. And then to see Shadow, I missed the Shadow era, but like the Shadow, again voiced by Keanu Reeves, sounds wonderful, and he just outclasses them in every way. So they're gonna have to obviously get creative to figure out how to take him down. So I'm excited to take that. I also put notes in here that the video game Cyberpunk 2077, the main character in the first one is voiced by Keanu Reeves, and in the expansion it is Idris Elba who voices Knuckles in this. So I'm excited to see this, you know, build the Sonic lore a little bit. Did you, when you watched the trailer, did you catch like the Akira reference when he's sliding the motorbike up the thing?
The motorcycle slide, yeah.
Motorcycle slide. He's got some other Dragon Ball references, so they're not afraid to, I wouldn't say spoof, but like reference other, you know, nerdy properties as well. And there's just something so basic and like, I would say relieving about seeing like the main characters are red, blue, and yellow. I'm like, there's something cool about just bringing these primary colors into this, like, into play. Here's your characters, because you're like, oh, are they gonna blend in with the scene? There's a guy here, you're wearing all black, but like, no, Knuckles is red, Sonic is blue, Tails is yellow. You're gonna know who's who in a fight, right? Especially when they're speeding around. And then One of the fun little references is where Jim Carrey spins around and he's the fat version of Eggman, if you will, Robotnik, where he's slapping his belly. So it's fun to see him kind of build up that he is a larger a character in the video games. I'm excited for this. This is like one of my guilty pleasures, and it's not that it's bad. It's just like I grew up with playing Sonic, and I just love to kind of get back into this a little bit. And I think they're doing some fun stuff with it. So it's coming out December. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and just be honest. I'm probably not gonna watch this in theaters, but I will watch it when it comes home immediately because just had such a good time. And I know you want to keep your mystery, but I'm gonna recommend you watch the first Sonic and Sonic 2 movies. You don't have to watch the show. You don't have to watch Knuckles, but I would recommend watching the first 2 movies because that was the other thing I was going to watch this week was the other video game movie, Borderlands, and then revisit Sonic 2 since I haven't watched it since it came out a couple years ago. Along the way,
I need a plane flight. I feel like the Sonic movies would be a plane movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe something you watch while feeding your child. As you mentioned, like the Godzilla X Kong, might be something you could throw subtitles on and watch with that.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Apple iOS or tvOS 18. I know you not use your Apple TV a lot, but in the new one, if you mute your TV with the remote, it automatically turns on subtitles in the new tvOS, and then when you unmute, the subtitles go away.
I also saw a feature that popped up in my feed that if you say into the remote, what did they just say?
Yeah.
It'll rewind back like 10 seconds and then turn the subtitles on just for 10 seconds. I was like, oh, that's cool.
And I think if you auto rewind it 10 seconds by hitting the button, it'll also throw subtitles on too without having to ask it. So they know what we want. They know we're missing things that people are saying in these movies with that. So very, very excited. But anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 trailer link is in our show notes. The other trailer we got this week is for the upcoming Christopher Reeve Superman documentary called Super/Man, and it kind of details the life and tragedy of Christopher Reeve, not the first Superman. It was George Reeves, who also had a really, really tragic backstory if you want to look into George Reeves' Superman. But Christopher Reeve, he was a Superman from the 70s, even through the quest for peace, and obviously he later in life had a horse accident which paralyzed him from the neck down, and he became into like a huge disability activist over time, working to help people walk again and find those results. And it even features some footage and some comments with Robin Williams, a longtime friend and person who also had issues with Christopher Reeve. I hadn't heard about this movie, Mike, until recently, but I watched it and I was like, damn, this is gonna be a tough watch to see the family rise, the accident, the life of Christopher Reeve after playing literally Superman on screen, right? An indestructible human, or not human, an indestructible being on Earth.
Yeah, that's always the rough thing with documentaries, right? I feel like the most interesting ones are always around some sort of tragedy or murder or mystery. The crazier the story, the more compelling the doc is. And sometimes I always don't want to watch the heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I've been wanting to sit down and watch the Mr. Rogers documentary for the longest time. And I've heard it's like so sentimentally sweet and it'll make you cry like happy tears. And I'm just like, I'm sure that's great and cathartic and I want to watch it, but it's just like, man, you really got to set aside an afternoon to deal with the ramifications of watching these intense stories. So I'm sure it'll be great.
You've really got to prep yourself for the heavy stuff, right? Like that's why I'm like, there's things I don't want to watch because I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity to handle this right now. This is going to be probably one of those things. I think I didn't grow up on the Superman movies. Like I didn't have access to them. I couldn't watch them until much later in life, and I was able to watch the was it director cuts of those? Who directed those? Anyway, the director's cuts that came out much later in the 2000s, I was able to watch those first. But I didn't watch this. I didn't know much about Christopher Reeve other than that the fact that he was Superman, had a horse riding accident because he was a very active person, paralyzed from the neck down, and that's how people saw him for years. So I'm excited to see this. There's just a lot of archival footage in here from like the 70s, right? Where you can see the rise of Superman, like the movie You Believe a Man Could Fly. A lot of people call it one of the best first superhero movies of all time. So I'm interested to learn more about the films and his life, especially if they cover all 4 Superman movies that he did. And I can't tell you another movie that I know Christopher Reeve in. Would you know one other than Superman off the top of your head?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
I'm sure he's got credits. So we just don't know.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm very. I want to watch this, but I'm very, like you said, I'm gonna have to be in the right moment to do it for that. But you can check out the trailer for that here if you have not seen that yet, and I highly recommend you do if you don't know much about it or want to see. We don't push documentaries very often on here, but I think this would be one that fits the audience of our show for superhero fans. Moving on into Peacemaker, where in Peacemaker season 2 is filming, and apparently this is not a secret. This is like they said it with one of the directors that season 2 will see the return of Robert Patrick's Augie Smith, the father of Peacemaker himself, Christopher Smith.
Well, what was he, the White Dragon? What was his name?
Yeah, White Dragon. Yep. He was the villain. He had the paradimensional room where he made all of these suits for Peacemaker. Really just an awful man overall, right? Mm-hmm. Played by Robert Patrick of Terminator 2 fame, the T-1000 himself. He really sells that villain, like just a cranky old white supremacist man. Like I don't think he's like that in real life at all, but boy, does he sell it so good in that show we talked about. But the 1988 comics, which was like a relaunch for Peacemaker, there's a run where you get to see the Peacemaker character arguing with himself. You come to find that he's arguing with the ghost of his father in his head. I think at the end of the series, obviously we saw the White Dragon. I think he was killed. So, but he was also telling John Cena's character that he's an awful person, like a horrible human. So I think we're gonna see that kind of carry into this new season, where maybe Robert Patrick isn't seen necessarily by everyone else around, but only Peacemaker, and kind of see that comic book run come to life, if you will. Mm-hmm. I'm cautiously optimistic on Peacemaker. I'm excited to see James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DCU. I know we have Creature Commandos coming up later this year in animated form, and Peacemaker season 2 is filming. Superman, I believe, is mostly done as well. So it sounds like we're gonna be diving into this maybe next year with that. So we'll let you guys know as we hear more on Peacemaker. Last bit of news here. It's been a bit of a quick episode, man. We're moving pretty quick through this. Is that the Batman, the Robert Pattinson version from Matt Reeves' universe, is rumored to be getting a video game based in the Batman universe as well, with Matt Reeves likely to be involved in maybe the storytelling or the setting or however it fits into this world.
Interesting. I wonder if this is part of that holistic strategy that Gunn and Peter Safran talked about when they launched this. That did they mention how video games, if they were going to tie in? Because I remember they said actors are going to transition from live action to cartoons, and I feel like they might have mentioned something
I think
about
they
video
do.
games.
I think they do video games, but I think the only game that came out recently was Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, which obviously wasn't, but like.
And Warner Brothers still has, if I remember correctly, a video game studio.
Yes.
Unlike the next comparable studio, which would be Disney, which I don't believe has any sort of internal video game strategy. They're just kind of whoever wants the license can kind of get the license and make it.
Yeah,
so.
I'd say Marvel has a game department, but they don't have their own game studios. But they will work with everyone else to make the games, like you just mentioned, right? Warner Brothers, I think, just did Multiverses, which includes a lot of DC characters as well, and recently Beetlejuice.
It's so hard. It's so hard to do the video game stuff, right? Because the development time is so long. It's even longer than an animated film, when you're looking at something like Spider-Verse or something like that. There's so much work that has to go into these video game properties that you have to be insanely strategic if you want to tie a movie franchise into a game, because the Matt Reeves Batman movie was great and I loved it and I'm looking forward to the sequel. But if you're starting the development of the video game, and I think the next Batman movie is supposed to start filming soonish, right?
Next year.
Like, is it next year?
Yeah, so they're looking at a 2026, maybe 27 release date for the movie. So it could line up.
And so do you plan on making this video game a companion to the movie? Do you have it pick up from where the second movie left off? And what happens if an actor drops out or somebody gets canceled and you got to remove a character from the video game? So I'm not saying I don't like the ambitious idea, but it is tough, right? I feel like Insomniac is doing a good idea of just make a really good game with the characters, screw its connection with the movies, because at the end of the day, gamers just want to play a fun game.
Right. Yeah. You sell the game idea rather than, try to tie it in. I think this brings up two pretty good conversation points. One, the Arkham games, right? Batman Arkham games, not tied to movies at all. Great video game franchise for Batman and superhero video games as a whole. And actually, I was talking to a friend of the show, Brian, yesterday, and he mentioned, he's like, I'm playing Arkham Knight, which was the last game, which came out, I think, in 2015, 2016, maybe 2017, maybe even 2017. But they actually have gone back and added in Robert Pattinson's The Batman as a skin to that game when the movie came out. I didn't know that. So you can actually play Arkham Knight as that the Batman, if you will. But I think if they were to do a game set in the Batman universe, is it like, maybe we know the movie's kind of year one, so is it like the week before year one? Like, obviously, like, he is the Batman, he's going around beating people up in the streets, but like, it doesn't have to tie into two, maybe, but it's like still set in the same universe, sowing some seeds for the characters, because the Joker is already in jail, right? So maybe the Joker is the villain of the first game, like his first, I guess, not kill, but like first criminal he puts in, or the hardest criminal.
That could be a possibility. And also, it plays into video game mechanics, which sometimes can be rough with heroes, where you kind of have to start them off underpowered and then give them abilities. So if you're talking like a year one Batman, something like that, before the first movie, I could see in the video game, maybe building your first grappling hook or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have access to the grappling to start, and you have to come back to some parts of the city later with your grappling hook to access some points. Things like I think there's value in that. This brings me to my second point is, you may or may not remember all the old video game tie-ins for movies from the mid 2000s, when every movie had to have a video game tie-in, and that 12-month release cycle for those games where they were just awful. Absolutely awful. I have all the Marvel Studios games from the first Phase 1, which there was Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America. The Iron Man games, which I think would be fun as hell, right? Playing as Iron Man, Arsenal, like, you get to give him all the upgrades to his suits, fly around, blowing people up, shooting people. Absolutely the worst games I've ever played in my life, Mike, are Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 from EA. Incredible Hulk's not too bad. Thor is very generic. It's fun that you can, he throws his hammer. You can get different, like, lightning bolt colors for his hammer and, like, different skins for his hammer as you go through it. But the best one of those is Captain America, the first Avenger tie-in, because it is essentially the Arkham games, but you're Batman in World War II. So, like, literally the where we had, like, the montage scenes for Captain America, right, in World War II. The entire game is set in, like, those montage scenes. So, like, you're going around to World War II camps, fighting people with your shield and using, like, pistol. Like, I think he has, like, a pistol as well. So, like, you get to do more things in that era. So you're, like, not bumping into the main story things, which I thought was really, really cool for that. And I remember just those games, just, like, some of those just being awful. One of the best ones, I will say, if anyone ever gets a chance to play it, play it, is the X-Men Origins Wolverine, the video game. And you may
which is absolutely wild. It's like one of the best video game adaptations, but one of the worst movie adaptations.
And I will tell you, and I believe this has been proven. It was more hearsay for a while, but like they were actually making a Wolverine video game, and they were like, "Okay, we're done. We're gonna release it." And they're like, "Actually, hold on. We're gonna do a movie." So you get another year to add some of our scenes from the movie in here. So they already had the game core built, and the game was done, and they were like, "Here's more time to tie it into the movie some more." So there are scenes in there that are not movie related, and then like some that are. So, but the gameplay of like Wolverine like lunging and like on people with his like bone claws is just fantastic. There was it's not a director's cut. I think there's like a different version that came out in PC / Xbox One, PS3 later, or maybe PS4, where it was like an unrated version. So like you got to see the blood and like dismemberment from a Wolverine game because it was an R-rated movie. So it's really funny to go back and look at like some of these were real winners. Some of these were just awful games all around. But I would love to see, as you mentioned, James Gunn, Peter Safran doing good games with the cast / characters from this universe they're building along the way. And my fear is when they said we're going to bring them together, is that, hey, we're going to put them in multiverses where they recorded some voice lines over like a couple days, and then we just made them a skin in a fighting game that we already had, kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And last little bit of news for the Batman to drag this out just a hair more is that writer Matt Tomlin, who wrote or came in at the last, like right before production on the original Batman, was unable to get a writer's credit on the first movie because he came in too late in the process, and then he was able to change a bunch, but the Writers Guild was not able to get him a screenwriting credit on this movie, even through arbitration. And he will be getting a full writer's credit on the sequel because he is writing the Batman 2 from start to finish. So obviously he was not too hurt by this. A lot of people are like, oh, they, DC screwed him over, they took away his credit. Well, he came in, he's like, well, they told me I will probably not be able to get a credit on this, and it was like for him a work lesson, right? Like, yes, I did this work, but I have to suck it up because I know I did the work, I got paid for it, and then it led him obviously to being able to write the sequel later. So I thought that was an interesting story. I didn't even know about him as like a uncredited writer on the first movie. Mm-hmm. So. Very interesting. I'm excited for the Batman 2. I know we get the Penguin sooner than later, and pretty excited to kind of dip back into that world a little bit. In a couple of years. Well, I'm sorry, folks. This is actually a shorter episode than usual, but we've got through all our show notes pretty quickly here. So,
longer weekend, shorter work week.
Yeah, that's right. Shorter show,
shorter episode. I'm sure people were happy to hear that we are having a good summer. Yeah. This is kind of the unofficial end of summer, at least here in the States. And it's also very easy to tell because if you go into any department store, there's Halloween decorations up everywhere.
You want to know what my house is like after today? I was gone. I came back to Halloween vomited all over our living room.
Oh, God.
But
I wish people could wait, but I get it. I was at Target yesterday. I had the bag of candy corn in my hand. And I said, no, I can't do it. I need to hold on until October. That is candy corn season. That's when I allow myself to eat it. There's definitely not a rush on the stuff. No one else likes it except for me. Mm-hmm. You like it too, don't you, Chris?
Oh, hell no. Don't pull me in that candy corn stuff. I will tell you, though, my dad, this is the thing my dad's in. He's into freeze-drying candies. You've heard of the freeze-drying candy craze.
Yeah.
He actually has been doing candy corns lately, trying to make something, get ready for the holiday season. Halloween season because obviously we get all the variations on candies for the Halloween season. So he was trying to do that with candy corns. 2 weeks ago when I went to Comic-Con Fan Expo, I did see the green caramel Snickers, like the spooky Snickers they have and spooky Twix. Mm-hmm. So those already been out in stores for a while as well. But I'm excited for some flavors other than that nasty Fanta flavor for Beetlejuice. It is not good, folks. I do not recommend it one bit.
I think we need to do a superhero snack update in the next couple episodes. There's some snacks that I'm on the lookout for. I was able to snag the chicken ramen Funyuns the other week, so I've tried those. I'm still desperately looking for the pecan Snickers.
Me
know
too.
It'll be out here sooner.
Me too. I have not seen the Midwest.
I hear they're at Dollar Generals, which is kind of crazy that those are the first place to get them. I'm sure they'll make it into my local store soon. It's always the thrill of the hunt, right? I know I could probably go online and find somebody that's selling them, but it's the thrill of the hunt. There's my most anticipated one is the Oreo Coca-Cola crossover. That's supposed to be hitting this month, September. It's September 1st right now. So that's the one I'm really looking forward to.
Starting Tuesday at Taco Bell's, you can get the Baja Blast Gelato now nationwide through the Taco Bell app.
Right.
So I want to try that. Mike has been gracious, lucky enough to have the Lay's honey butter flavored Lays that are out there.
They are so good.
I cannot find them yet, but I've had the wavy tzatziki flavored, and I also had the masala flavor yesterday for the first time as well. So I'm very anxious to try the honey butter ones that you have as well.
And I think we're both looking for that new ghost flavored energy drink, the
Grape
Welch's Grape.
Yep.
Which sounds pretty rad. I'd like to try that.
Yep, could not find that yesterday. Mountain Dew Pitch Black is coming back to 7-Elevens and Speedways pretty soon in the fountain flavor, in the zero sugar, which is great for us because we both drink the zero sugar versions of this stuff. So, except
and
Pitch
Voodoo
Black.
and Voodoo is supposed to be back soon.
Voodoo 2024. Yep.
Yeah. So we got lots of snacks to talk about soon. And Chris, I was thinking maybe we do this as kind of like end of the year or beginning of the year, New Year's thing. I really want to sit down and do our popcorn bucket power rankings because there has been some new additions to the popcorn world that are really, really rad. We got a couple more movies coming out this year that could possibly have fun popcorn buckets.
Craven, right?
So we'll probably get the Craven popcorn bucket. I saw this really annoying headline that said like, oh my gosh, we're getting another rated R Marvel movie this year, and I couldn't be more excited. I was like, how much did Sony pay for this headline to be written right now? Because nobody, and they didn't even use the Craven as the featured image for the article. They just used Deadpool because that's the other rated R movie. So they're trying to synergize with that success.
It was AI written, I guarantee it too. If you get into it, they probably didn't pay anybody. They probably just said, here, we're going to submit this. But I agree with you. I agree. Someone, my friend yesterday told me, he's like, you look like someone who would be into the movie theater popcorn bucket racket. And I'm like, you've pinned me. You've pinned me.
Oh boy.
Exactly. So yes, I am.
Oh
actually.
boy, do you know?
Yeah. So.
And then I had a thought. We won't know until sometime next year, and hopefully it'll be leaked in like a warehouse where an employee takes a picture of it. But if the next Avatar movie. What is it? Firestarter?
I think Fire and Ash.
Fire and Ash. If that movie doesn't have a banging popcorn bucket, I don't know what to think anymore in this world, because we all know James Cameron was kind of involved in the video game in some way. Like, he definitely had say over it. You know, he had creative input. I got to imagine that man is also invested in cranking out an awesome popcorn bucket. I don't know what it is. No. Do you create some sort of Pandora creature whose mouth opens, you know? Is it like a Na'vi where the skull comes off? Is it like a giant tooth of an animal or something?
It's Fire and Ash. What if it's a popcorn bucket that keeps your popcorn warm while you're eating it because it's a Fire and Ash movie?
You just got that Batman spotlight bucket.
I do.
And you said it had a light bulb in it, and I forgot to ask you, does that bulb get hot enough to keep the popcorn warm?
It does not. It's more of an LED bulb, sadly. But I will tell you, the Batman '89 popcorn bucket is great. I'm going to go ahead and show my hands. It's the best popcorn bucket I've gotten this year so far. It rotates around the pivots up and down. The light comes out. You can even shine the bat signal on your wall. But that goddamn light bulb sticks up out of the middle. So if you're in there grabbing your popcorn and you hit that bulb, you could probably break it right off without even thinking twice about it. So it is absolutely a 10 out of 10, but that asinine bulb sticking up. So I wouldn't even put popcorn in it to save my life. But that's not what the popcorn buckets are for. They're for looking at, not for eating out of, right? So... But yeah, I think we revisit that. I think it's been a good year for it, and I think next year, with 3 Marvel movies that we know of, a Jurassic World movie, and some other stuff, I'm down to see Superman.
Yeah.
James Gunn's Superman will be coming out. What kind of popcorn vessel are we going to get with that one? So
yeah, we actually, now that you mention it, we haven't really had a proper MCU popcorn bucket. You know, the Deadpool ones are all like fun and gimmicky, and you know, they're riding off the high of, you know, the Doom popcorn bucket, and they made good vessels for sure. But I mean, I don't really remember like a Guardians Volume 3 popcorn bucket that was, you know, news splashing in an
Guardians 3 did not, but I will tell you, the Ant-Man head from Ant-Man and Lost Quantumania is a solid bucket from last year.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, you do. It's his helmet. The helmet opens up. We talked about you like kind of eating his brain. Like,
well, I believe you that we talked about it. I'm telling you, it went in
like,
my head and then left.
So my Doctor Strange one, which is like, it looks like his magic shield that is a collapsible square, is pretty cool. I keep those on my shelf. I would even say Thor: Love and Thunder with the cracked Mjolnir vessel that opens
so maybe
up.
They have done some, but now the runway's wide open.
Yeah.
Now they know we can make some money on these bad boys.
The bar is so high after this year, after Dune and this Deadpool and Wolverine this year, not just to be perverted popcorn buckets, but just to make news with your popcorn bucket. That's what you want to be doing.
I mean, Fantastic Four should just be the Thing's head, like to scale whatever the Thing's head is, and then right where right above, like maybe the eyebrow line, that's where the head comes, like whips open, and that's where you get the popcorn.
I really want a Fantastic Car popcorn vessel. If I'm going to be honest,
that would be cool.
Because they've done all the other cars. The Fantastic Car would be great.
I mean, at this rate, these big movies will be getting multiple popcorn buckets because
the theaters all want their own unique ones.
Yeah. So sweet. So stay tuned. Stay subscribed.
All right. Well, look at that.
Talking about popcorn buckets.
We drag it out to an hour, but just by talking about candy, like we always do.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, Mike, people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing. What can they find you at, my friend?
Oh, they can read my webcomics at liferewardsrisk.com and pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where are you?
Find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems with the same name. People want to know about the show, where they can get all these links that we literally have in today's show notes, or anything else. Where can they find that good stuff?
Yes, it's called a domain name. It's a .com. If you're younger, you might not understand what a website is anymore. So it's called superheroslate.com. That is the headquarters for everything we do here at Superhero Slate. So no matter what social media platforms rise and fall, we will always have a website, superheroslate.com. So you can get our show notes there. You can get our subscription links. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Let us know what you're watching, what you're playing. And we love our super fans. So if you want to be a super fan of this show, it's very easy to do. All you have to do is share this show with a friend, share this show with a buddy. And I realize after all of these years, after 489 episodes, I've never articulated what is the difference between a friend and a buddy. But either way, share it with somebody and you'll be a super fan, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right, on our modern podcast.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.